We're back once again for that top 6 loser side match with Tusa, who just got off the pads several minutes before on his top 8 winner side.
So Tusa protected Fire Noodle
he's on short rest here.
jboy being very old school. He protected Dignity D24. This is the original Nightmare chart right here. So this is very old school for him.
I figured younger folks didn't know it, so
a third song,
Commentators are very amused at that idea.
D23 as a tiebreaker. And I think that's one of the neatest 23s.
A lot of the things that I was doing with my tiebreakers late, or with my warm-ups late in the day, were just trying to redo some of my really good scores that I've done without a card. I think I had a 9.62 on my card. I've gotten like 2 and a miss at a warm-up at a random tournament before, so I was just taking a second to try and redo some of the scores I've been able to do under different circumstances.
Because they have been doing their warm-up song before they get into the match. So they've been playing back to back to back for throughout the day. How much has sort of fatigued them now?
Yeah, just a reminder, we've had stream going today for the last 9.5 hours. The tournament has been going on since 11 a.m. today, so 9 hours ago. So it's been a long day for everyone. Those people have been here not only playing, but also cheering people on.
There were these arguments as to whether or not they wanted to finish top 16 and delay top 8 until tomorrow so that people could get up in the morning and immediately play a D24. And maybe mess with people's travel schedules.
No, I find this
or maybe just do top 4 tomorrow.
Doing Twisted Fate. I think he wants the party trick right now.
Yeah, I think they... Yeah,
he did just have a match, so it definitely makes sense that he doesn't really need a physical warm-up. He probably just needs something that feels like he's doing cool shit. Show off for the stream.
Yeah, I think he just wants to save energy because he knows picking Fire Noodle, he's going to have to really push it out and try and get an edge off jboy on that. jboy actually playing Boom, it looks like, D22, and just kind of just getting a good solid warm-up. Looks like he had a pretty good score right there.
Yeah, one miss on it again. That's another one I need to get it at some point. Oh, it wasn't a miss, it was a bad. I think I had 2 greats and a miss as a warm-up at some event or other, so that's good enough. It's better than the 9.6 that I had on my card.
I'm very much sure that jboy's approving of Tusa's song choice right now because jboy loves doing the slow reading too.
I have no idea what
so I think they changed the way that Twisted Fate works. I think now it just forces 2x when you get to the hard part, which I don't think is the way it worked before.
This is the kind of chart where there's a very structured way of looking at it, and once you learn the structure, it makes more sense. It's not just random placement, it's very symmetrical and structured.
It kind of goes from one pattern to the next. Yeah, I think that's a good way of saying it. If you know what the individual patterns are, it's not too bad.
It was found
I mean, I did one bad asset on my first try.
They patched those out pretty much immediately.
On a side read.
So it's like, nope, you're gonna read slow.
Okay, Fire Noodle Challenge is gonna be where we start. Again, I've put a lot of my energy into Fire Noodle Double, so I know the song very well, or the remix rather, but I don't really know the single chart as I really only played the double more than a couple of times. But it's tournaments, you gotta play what comes up, so we are gonna go right in on Fire Noodle Challenge.
Alright, with that, we're gonna get started with this match.
Someone finally protected a single mode chart against me, which is bad for me. I don't know if Tusa noticed that I'd been vetoing all the double. He also got to see a little bit more of what I was doing because he was on commentary. So give him more opportunities to really notice. He may have gone for a single for that reason, or maybe he just likes this. I don't know. But either way, I was actively trying to avoid people protecting singles against me. This is the first time somebody's managed to get one through.
Can we make this a 4-song draw instead?
Just to round it out.
Alright, Tusa's showing a 9.71. We'll see how close he gets to that in this event setting. jboy, I think, can put up a pretty good score on this, having played it a decent amount on XX. But it may have been a while since he's touched it, so we don't know how good it's going to be.
That's accurate. I have played the double a lot more recently than I've played the single.
One very interesting thing that Spam likes to do in his charts, the very last note is actually an autoplay note. But if you were to hit that note early, you would get whatever judgment you hit. So you have to make sure not to accidentally jump on the very last note.
I actually did not know that.
Yeah, this
Here we
is
go.
a thing in this chart for Fire Noodle, the other chart for Fire Noodle for the D25, as well as the full song for Goodbye. Which is no longer
Once again, I don't necessarily trust the pads not to throw a whole bunch of random garbage, so I wasn't really planning on turning much. Which isn't super practical on this chart. You have to turn some.
Very much an endurance test, and it mostly comes down to paying attention for the first half, but once you hit the straightforward runs in the middle, it starts getting more and more complex there, and now you have to really burn into your stamina to be able to hit all this stuff.
I would say for
something slow like that, I'm not going to pick up bads and stuff. But it is when those faster runs come in, I've actively thought to myself, I really want to avoid doing extra turning.
I think the hardest part about the ending is you have to do a bunch of turning and then immediately follow that into a run that's accompanied by a center hold. That's the part that a lot of people flip on. So we'll cover that when we get there. jboy's still keeping full combo so far, not having any problem. Tusa just trying to kind of put the pressure on at this point, but we know he's tired.
I have seen over the rest of the day that Tusa is a more older style of classic pump player. So I am expecting him to pick up greats just kind of naturally by being a pump player. As long as I keep the combo together, I should be okay.
These brackets are also very
It's not one of those things where one grade is going to kill me.
Holds attached to them, so if you get off them too early, you are going to drop the tail ends of the holds. And jboy getting a little punished right there too, managing to catch up a little bit right there.
Tusa unfortunately getting a miss right after.
Unfortunately, you can definitely see I'm already getting tired because I'm picking up sloppy nonsense.
Runs right here. We've got straight set of runs, and then it's going to start adding turns in after that.
Yeah, this is about where the double gets hard.
Accuracy right here. jboy not having too many problems, getting a couple small breaks. Now we start adding turns into the mix.
Tusa being able to keep
yeah, I'm just not even turning at all.
Yeah, he's putting pressure on. He's doing really good putting pressure on. jboy's missing more and more. And then we've got the final section, last set of anchor runs into the center hold part, and then we have to make sure we do not drop any of these last holds after these turns. And here comes the autoplay note. And they both get it.
Yeah,
so
I didn't actually know you could just not hit it at all.
Really comes down to
I thought you still had to hit it.
And jboy's going to take it with a 9-7-2 right there, just keeping the
pretty sloppy on the second half, but it's going to be enough in this setting.
Really the accuracy that hurt Tusa on that and gave jboy the edge.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
just out of gas. This is a stamina problem. But I'm out of shape. I've visibly shown it a lot. I've said it to anybody who will listen. I'm out of shape. I am still going to swing on people for as long as I can. And I'm not afraid to use knowledge checks.
Very classic. This is the original.
I know where we're going on Dignity.
And Nightmare was the hardest chart difficulty back in the day. So this is like the
I do that every time. Why does it start on 17? It's so weird.
This is like out of like stuff that's like really tough and that's still comparable to modern difficulties. This is the original boss song.
jboy trying to channel Mr. Dignity in the background. That's probably how both players feel at the moment.
I mean, I would do it even if it weren't strategically my best move. Just for the you know, I do the sheep for everything. But it is definitely my best move to go ahead and take this. I really shouldn't even be playing it on 5.93. I should be playing it slower. I'm used to it much slower than that, so it is probably a mistake for me to leave it at 5.93.
Right here.
Yes, if he loses this, he is out.
Yeah, and it's looking rough.
Unfortunately, I can see that on Tusa's side. I assume most of his card is pretty updated, and that says 9.35.
Because of how much movement they involve. And
now this has very few steps, so it is hard to get a high numerical score. You just don't get the freezes, right? Every miss, every good hurts a lot.
And he's probably got everything mapped out to how he wants to do this. So he can play for accuracy, or he can try and just keep combo points and make sure he gets to the end.
Goddish, I was AFK. This is the first song. No, this is
I'm
the
afraid I
second
ended
song
up doing
of
both.
the match.
I
The first one was
played the first
Fire
half for
Emblem
accuracy.
Against
Well, we'll
23.
get there.
J-Boy
But I did a little bit of
won that
both
one.
Yeah, but a
on
little
this
over
attempt here.
970,000.
Fortunately, as he says, this is one of the oldest charts that's still in the
Must be
game,
crazy
and I know
feeling for
exactly
J-Boy
where I'm
playing
going.
the same D24 for over 20 years of tournaments.
See, I actually still enjoy this chart, and I wouldn't mind it playing this one in tournaments so much. And it's
I
just
still
very
enjoy this chart.
iconic for what it is.
It's
I
old
definitely
reliable.
agree with Zell.
I think especially
So
now,
I have to be
with the
careful about
newer
that because I
generation
know
of
where a lot of
players,
these
at
charts
least
start,
I'm being biased,
so I
but
have to be
personally
very
do
careful
try
not to
avoid all
show
their
the
charts.
opponent when it's going to
So
start
in
in some
competition,
side place
they
or
do have
something,
a
because I'll just get there early. Like takeout. I know where it's
sort
going to
of above
start.
Both players doing,
knowledge-wise.
both players doing a really good job trying to keep the accuracy up. J-Boy managed to keep the combo right there. Both of them doing a really good job not dropping the holds. Yeah, these triple holds are worth a bunch.
So sad that I
Definitely don't
lose
want
a
to. Oh, and
great.
I cursed it right there. Tusa ended up dropping, I think, like a 13 and a 9 back-to-back. So this is going to put him in the hole quite a bit because there are no more big holds for the rest of the chart.
But he will prevail.
He will keep playing.
going.
Sloppy.
Yeah.
He knows he has to play. Because he knows if he doesn't play, I will yell at him until he does.
Yes, there was a Tusa hold drop. Yes, unfortunately it was one of the holds. They did drop a bit at the start.
Okay,
all
one
these old
sloppy
school
thing, but
patterns are
otherwise
very
pretty
difficult. J-Boy
good.
knowing exactly where everything is. We've got this 12th note run coming up right here for the guitar solo. And this is going to lead into a small break. But we have the broken staircase.
I assumed I was probably good by this point, so I don't have to do the whole staircase.
And J-Boy actually doing really good to manipulate the first half of that.
Yeah, just doing
Immediately
the
bursting in
doing the
both
cheat
players actually doing
strats.
a great job manipulating that part. And then we have one more flying run coming up before the end of the solo.
I'm way too tired to go to
Tusa
the
actually doing a
outside.
little bit better
I
on
didn't
that.
even time the inner side.
And now it's just a little bit more bursting, making sure not to drop this very last hold as we get into the final triple hits of the song.
So awkward.
Very solid for J-Boy.
I'm just
J-Boy
going all the way
knowing
back to
exactly
no
what
bar
he had to
strats
do.
of just ignore the threes, just hit the twos.
J-Boy Tusa dancing each other up.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Tusa getting that hold
We
drop
take
really,
those.
really shot him down.
Not my favorite
With
score
that-
of all
that
time, but
965,
certainly enough
J-Boy's going to
for these
advance into
purposes.
losers,
Is going to take a
semifinals
2-0
right here.
over Tusa.
So then we have our top four, Red Viper versus J-Boy and losers.
And move on to
the
top
winner side,
four.
we still have Kaze versus Matt Miller. But
So,
Tusa played a great game. Really appreciate
because
getting all
of the way
into
the,
top
the pacing
6.
goes,
Like, that is an
I have to turn
incredible
around
result.
and
Yes,
go
tying
get
for fifth
Viper
place.
right
An
now.
amazing job. He wasn't even sure he was going to make it in top 8, and he managed to get into 5th place, like tied for 5th. I'm sure he is still ecstatic over everything, and he looks
Yeah, it's a
very
really
tired.
good run by
Yeah,
Tusa.
just waving goodbye.
I know that there were some questions over the seating when he was seated there over Bird as 4th, but he brought it through.
I guess
Did a
looking at
great
the
job,
bright
got
side,
it there.
we get to, you know, finally
Had some good runs. I'm hoping that he's able to put it up in the near future and start taking down the old fucks so we can all quit. we should all be able to just come to events, get knocked out 9th, have an okay time, and just let the youngins have it. And I'm hoping that's soon.
Well,
And
we get
Tusa's
set
going
up
to be
for
the
the
lead
next
of that.
match here.
And Bird's
We
going to be the
only
lead
have-
of that. There's what I was waiting
Oh, we got
on.
the
Double
break,
boss
breaker
breaker.
for J-Boy. So we can talk about the
All
title
right,
for
we're going to
the,
come back
boss breaker.
very shortly
Every
and
game
have a top
has a
4
boss breaker
match.
attached to it.
Oh,
At least
no,
several
it's
games
not
have boss
over.
breakers attached to them where you
I have
need
to
complete
keep
a specific
playing.
chart and pass in order